Hey, it's Christopher, aka the Bronze Age Nerd, and I just watched the premiere of Loki on Disney Plus.
Great Scott!
Okay. Hey, dude, it's Christopher, aka the Bronze Age Nerd. Yeah, I know. Well, I'm you from the future, so how's it going past me? Lame. I mean, there's this whole pandemic thing. It's this whole fiasco. I mean, you're from the future. At least that gets better, right? Yeah. So hey, what are you watching on TV these days? Oh, I was just checking out the new Loki show on Disney Plus. It seems really cool so far. Oh, dude, Loki. How about that Miss Minutes? Super hot character, huh? I guess the clock. Yeah, and kind of cute. It reminded me a little bit of like Lost or something. Yeah, you know, when they do like the training videos, it kind of had that feel to. Why are you asking me about this? Yeah, I would totally pre-order a bunch of copies of her first appearance. It happens in this comic book called Timeless #1. She's on one of the covers. Pre-order a bunch of those. Really? All right. Hey, did the Broncos have a good season or? So anyways, do you want to watch the top 5 not to buy that I'm going to do for this week? It's a new video series where I talk about 5 comic books I would recommend not buying this week. Hey, that sounds like a really cool idea for a series of videos. I'm totally going to start doing that. All right, dude, sounds cool. Hopefully everything goes well for us. All right, let's get to the list of the top 5 comic books I'd recommend not buying this week. Now, this is the list where I choose 5 comic books from lists such as the Key Collector Trending 20 or the CBSI Hot 10, Cover Price, Comic Tom, all those different channels out there. And I try to choose 5 of those books I'd recommend not buying that are on those lists right now. And I also follow up 3 months later to let you know how I did on the picks. And I'll follow up again at 6 months later to let you know if there's any change. Let's get to the 5th book on this week's list, and that book is going to be Sleepwalker #1. This book appeared on these lists because there is a new Marvel Legends action figure that was announced as part of an upcoming wave. So look, I'm going to be straight with you. As a huge Marvel Legends collector, I have a ton of those figures. I'm pretty familiar with how the waves work. And generally speaking, when you have a movie-heavy wave, or even any of their waves that come out, and let's say it's mostly geared towards one thing, there's usually like a comic related figure in a movie wave, that kind of a thing. And it's not something that usually leads to that character appearing in a movie soon. There's been plenty of examples where that hasn't gone the way that people are expecting this to go. So just because we're getting a Sleepwalker Marvel Legends figure doesn't mean that we're immediately going to get some kind of news about Sleepwalker coming to the MCU. Now, that said, of course, it doesn't rule out the possibility that Sleepwalker is going to come to the MCU. That's something that could happen. I could see that happening like in a Disney Plus show. Of course, that could happen. It's the MCU. We get all kinds of characters. And Sleepwalker is a character that has a shot of appearing in the MCU. I just don't think it's going to happen at this time. And I certainly don't think that this toy is a reason why you could look at that happening. All right, number 4 on the list is going to be the infamous Iron Man #12. This is the Malieve variant. And as far as I can tell, the only reason this book is heating up, this was from the CBSI Hot 10 list, is just because it's Doctor Doom related. You know, we had the first issue in that series kind of pop off because of the AI Tony Stark. I think that's actually an interesting idea that we would get AI Tony Stark in the MCU. I don't know what's it's a cool cover. It's a cool Doctor Doom cover, but if it's just a cool cover and it's hard to find, I don't really buy it being a book that's going to hold value. So I'm going to go ahead and add this as the 4th book on my list. Number 3 is a tricky one. This is going to be Avengers 181, which is the first appearance of Scott Lang. Scott Lang is obviously an established character in the MCU as Ant-Man, and that brings us to the point. There's this whole thing with characters, a lot of really popular characters, especially, you know, when you think about MCU and Marvel, there's a huge history of characters having a first appearance and then later appearing as the hero. Traditionally, in most cases, the first appearance as the hero is usually the book that's the money book. And in this case, that's going to be a Tales to Astonish book. It's a very famous cover of Ant-Man on it. Scott Lang as Ant-Man. And that is the book that I would go for. And it's the book that everyone is going for. Picking up the first appearance of Scott Lang, I think it's an interesting idea. I think that its appearance on a list right now is going to drive the price up. I would wait for the prices to die down a little bit and scoop it up if you're still interested in it. I don't think that anything's going to make this book hold value right now. It's probably going to continually, steadily climb over time. That's what we would expect for a book for this vintage that has some kind of a key in it. And I think this is going to be like the whole first appearance of Bobby Morse versus the first appearance of Mockingbird, that kind of thing. If she's Mockingbird, the first appearance as Bobby Morse isn't necessarily going to matter as much. It depends. There's always, there's factors there. The first appearance of Peggy Carter might matter more than the first appearance of Captain Carter. That could happen because that comic is significantly older, rarer, and harder to find. So there are some different kind of nuances to this where you might have to say, hey, maybe the first appearance of the character does matter more than the first appearance of the costumed character. But it really, most of the time, will work out that the costume character is the appearance you want to go after. After all, not a lot of people are trying to collect the first appearance of Cletus Cassidy versus the first appearance of Carnage. They were when the movie was coming out, but not now. Not a lot of people are trying to collect the first appearance of Eddie Brock instead of the first appearance of Venom. The list kind of goes on. You see where I'm going, and that's why it's on this list. So real fast, as I talk about this segment, there are some very light spoilers for Book of Boba Fett. You might want to skip to the next comic book if that is something that you're worried about. Okay, number 2 on the list was on the Key Collector Trending 20, and it is Star Wars number 20. This is the, not the first appearance, actually. This is just a cover appearance. I hope I'm pronouncing this right. I know that there's something he's appeared in recently. I haven't seen it yet. Black Kristan, I hope that's how you say that. He's an evil Wookiee, essentially. And this isn't his first appearance. It isn't his first kind of iconic cover appearance, which is him fighting Chewbacca in a previous issue. This is him fighting Obi-Wan. It's a cool cover. It's a cover that I could see if Obi-Wan, if he appears in that series, his comic book will definitely come back up. But right now, for these purposes, people are jumping on Black Kristan, and I don't see it. I would go after his first appearance in Darth Vader 1. I would go after that cover appearance of him and Chewbacca. Maybe that's a cool fight. It definitely makes more sense to me than this one. I just don't see dumping money on this one. It's probably going to drop in a couple of months, and you can get it back for the price it was going for before this appearance happened. So, but yeah, I think you can safely avoid this one and not lose out on the investment. All right, so what is our number 1 time-hopping, time-based story comic book on this list? That's right, at number 1 on the list, we have Timeless number 1. This is the Ramos cover, and this is going to be the book that I'm going to choose as my risky pick of the week for a comic book that I'd recommend not buying. Here's the thing with this comic book. A lot of people saw this thing coming and pre-ordered it, and now they're selling them. They're flipping them. And that's totally fine, by the way. If you pre-order a book for FOC, you're not doing any harm to the market. Anybody could have done that. Literally everybody could have ordered 100 copies of this book for less than cover price before it came out. But here's why I'd recommend not buying this book. It's selling for a lot right now because people have that FOMO. And this is kind of a key, so the book itself could hold some value. But the reason that cover took off is because it's the first cover appearance of Miss Minutes. That isn't necessarily going to be a huge character. We know we're getting more Loki, so yes, she'll be back. But it just doesn't strike me as a book that has holding value to it. And this is that thing where I could be wrong 3 months later, 6 months later, we'll have to see. But my guess is that once the FOMO wears off on this, and by the way, we're about to get flooded in a few months with tons of 9/8s too. That's going to happen. Once that happens, I think that the market's probably going to dip on this quite a bit, and you're going to be able to pick up a copy for a lot cheaper. So there's my top 5 not to buy that I recommend for this week. Again, it's your money. Spend it however you want. I'm just trying to counter some of that FOMO and some of that hype that's out there and try to kind of maybe just kind of say, hey, let's chill out for a second. Let's think about what we actually want to be collecting or investing in, and maybe spend our money a little bit more wisely. If you enjoyed the show and you want to support me, I do have a Ko-fi you can donate to. Also, you can join my Discord. There's a link in the description below. If you want to save some money over to Comic Book Shop, you can go to dangerouswaterscomics.com and save 10% by using the code BRONZE10. Over at Gemini Comic Supply, if you're looking to pick up some supplies, I have an affiliate link down below. I do make some money off that link if you click it, just full disclosure. And you can also save some money by using the code BronzeAgeNerd5. So it's a good way to get some supplies, save some money, help out the channel. It's a win-win situation. And lastly, I do appreciate you commenting and sharing this video with other people too. That always helps me out. So I do have a special message Get your decoder rings out. This is basically just for one person. This is for a kind of a challenge. I wish him well on his growth and success on the channel. That's DC Irish. Go check him out on YouTube. And one little message I have for him, I just want to make sure I get it out there loud and clear, is that he understands I ain't afraid of no booty. Thanks for watching, everybody. I hope you have a wonderful day. And I want to remind you, as always, hey. Read comics every day.